Hey guys, it's that Addi Queen, and in this video I'm going to show you how to knit a baby blanket on your 22 pin machine. So first we're going to cast on with waste yarn, just weaving every other row. And I'm going to do 3 or 4 rows of waste yarn. It's not really an exact science, it's more of a preference thing. When I'm casting on, I do less rows of waste yarn than when I'm casting off, just because I don't feel like I need as much. I'll just do one more row. Now I'm going to take my scissors and cut. Now I'm going to take my working yarn, which I'm going to make stripes of pink, purple, and gray. So I'm going to take my pink, find the end here. The skein got a little tangled. My cat got a hold of it. Go figure, huh? So I'm going to find the end, find the end, find the end. I have found the end. So now I'm going to put this to the right of my first black needle. I'm going to leave a decent tail. You don't need too much of one. Going to do a couple needles and then reset my row counter. You want to go pretty slow on your first row after the waste yarn, just because sometimes the Addi doesn't adapt the best when you're switching yarns. In this video, all the yarn I am using is Big Twist. The pink is called Medium Rose. The purple I'm using will be called Lilac. And then the gray I'm using, I'm pretty sure, let me look, it's called Medium Gray. So, I've done about 10 rows so far, and for this project, we are going to do 200 rows for every single tube. So, you're going to be cranking for a while. Because I'm doing stripes, and I have 3 colors, the number of tubes I'm going to use is going to be a multiple of 3, just so I have the same number of every color, you know what I mean? So, I'll probably do 9 tubes. I have seen people do 7 tubes, but it wasn't very wide. Oh, my tension's getting to be a little too much. There's a knot in my skein. Poor little Addi. So, I'm at 20. I will see you guys after I finish my 200th row. Wow, okay, I just finished my 200th row, so I'm going to cut a pretty decent tail here. And I'm going to cast off with waste yarn. I'm going to do a couple more rows this time, just because it is the cast off row, so it unravels. And so you want to make sure you have plenty of yarn to make sure your actual project yarn doesn't unravel. Right now I'm just going to cut my waste yarn and run it through MP twice. And that takes my project off. So now I have this tube, which again was 200 rows. This will be one tube on my blanket. I'm going to crochet them all together later in this video. So here's my tube laid out on my floor, and it's guarded by Mr. Kitty. As I knit more tubes, they will be laid out as well, so I can assemble my blanket. So I have 5 of my tubes done. I need to lay this one out better. I'm going to do 9. I'm standing by that. But I figured since I did 5, I would show you guys how I close the ends and attach the tubes together. So, I want to show you guys how I close a tube. As you see, I just stuck my crochet hook inside this stitch and inside the stitch. And you just crochet them together. Inside the stitch, crochet. Inside the stitch, crochet. You want to make sure you do this 22 times because there's 22 stitches, because we use the 22 pin machine. Sometimes your waste yarn does get in your way, but we'll pull that out after you finish stitching it together. And I am aware I do not crochet how most people do, so if you feel like commenting that, please don't. I already know. Yeah. Here we are, coming up close to the end. And I'm going to dig out my yarn tail I left. Oops, I got a black on my hook. Let's take that off. Oop. Good, good. It's hard to find some of the stitches at the end, but you want to make absolutely sure that you have all 22 stitches. If not, your project will unravel, and that would be so sad. Nobody wants their project to unravel. Okay, here's my last stitch. Whoop. Pull it tight. To make a knot, I'm going to pull my tail, go like I'm crocheting, and just pull it all the way out. And then we're going to pull our waste yarn to remove it from the project. Sometimes it's kind of tough to remove. Pull this little bit out, and there you go. We have crocheted this one shut. And as you can see, I left this here to show you, this is what happens when you don't pick up a loop. Your stitches actually drop. So what we're going to do is just pick this up, crochet it. We're going to tie another knot with our tail. Now I'm going to stick my needle inside my tube and slide it up. I'm actually going to tuck in my tail. Then we can just trim the excess. We're going to do this to all of our tubes for our blanket. To both ends. So I'm going to flip this over and do the same thing on this end. Now for the final step. We have closed our tubes using our waste yarn. And now I'm going to show you how to attach them. So I'm going to come right by where I tied my knot into the last stitch on both sides. Okay, now I'm going to just pull. The first stitch is always the hardest. We're going into this stitch, pull over. This stitch, pull over. We're going to go into every single stitch. So there's going to be 200 for each tube because we did 200 rows for each tube. And as you can see, we'll be left with a nice pink and purple crochet. I like doing this with my baby blankets because I feel like instead of having an accent color to crochet together, you have a nice trim that just complements the whole blanket. So we're slowly coming along, and as you pull this out, you can see it's crochet. Now, you can do every other stitch or every stitch, but the only thing is you have to be consistent. It won't look right if you change your mind halfway through or you miss a couple stitches or whatever. It'll make your crochet look like it's different sizes. You also want to make sure you're on the same row right here in your tubes. Like if I grabbed a stitch up here and crocheted, I'll show you. See, if I did that, it wrinkles and it kind of just makes it not look right. So you want to make sure you're in the same row. This also will make the edges of your blanket straight. Moving right along. You are going to do this all the way down the tube until you get to the end, and then you will tie a knot just like you did at the end of taking off the waste yarn. Same kind of knot. This is our last step. Just a little recap. We knitted 200 rows for each tube, and we did 9 tubes. I did 3 colors, so I did 3 tubes of each color. It took like a skein and a half of each, and that was the big twist yarn. And then using our waste yarn, we closed the ends of our tubes. And now we are crocheting our tubes together. I hope that this video has helped you. I will attach photos of my finished project. And let me tell you guys, I really wish that YouTube would let you guys comment photos. I would love to see your beautiful work. So if you wish, there is a link to contact me, and I'm sorry, my camera cut out. If you guys wish, there is a link to contact me in my YouTube about, and you can email me photos of your lovely work. I hope this video was so helpful. I hope that you make so many beautiful creations on your 22 pin machine. Have a wonderful day, guys. Happy crafting. So as you guys can see, this is by no means finished. What I decided to do is only do 5 tubes, and I'm going to crochet 2 rows of double crochet all the way around with every single color. So like 2 rows of gray, 2 rows of pink, 2 rows of purple, and I think that'll really complete it. I just got kind of lazy with my cranking, and this is what I came up with. I hope this video helped.